Hi, I'm John Valentine and I'm a systems engineer with EMC, and today I'm going to provide a high-level overview of EMC's software-defined storage portfolio. So why is EMC, who has traditionally been a hardware company making some of the industry's best storage platforms, now focusing so much on software and software-defined? Well, it's because when EMC talks to their customers, we see that most organizations have the same three pain points. The first one being, we have too many projects. Most IT organizations have dozens, if not hundreds, of projects that they're trying to tackle at a time, and they can't keep up with the demand. The second pain point is we don't have enough people to get all these projects done. Most organizations have 2, maybe 3 people in their whole IT team, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of internal IT customers that they have to support. And the third one is we don't have enough money to keep up with all of the demand. They're using old equipment that is outdated and can't keep up with the application and customer demands on their IT organization. And so that's why EMC is focusing so much on this idea of software defined and providing our customers with the right tools, not just the right hardware or infrastructure, to get the job done. And so when we look at most IT organizations, there's a lot of complexity, especially on the hardware side. And from a storage perspective, we may have multiple storage platforms. So if we're an EMC shop, we may have our VNX platform. We may also have a VMAX if we're an enterprise organization. And if we want to have scale-out file, we'll use something like an Isilon. And a lot of organizations are also turning to commodity. And if an IT organization has a merger or an acquisition, they may even have a third party, and this may be something like NetApp or HP or Hitachi. And so in this case, you can see that there's a lot of complexity as far as management goes. When the time comes that we have to provision storage, we have to remember which storage array we're going to provision storage on and how to actually provision storage and perform other administrative tasks. And so most of the time in our organization, we'll have maybe 1 or 2 people. So this is IT, and we maybe have 3 people in this organization. Now these IT individuals have to support hundreds, if dozens, if not hundreds of actual customers. Now these customers can be internal to the IT business, such as developers, or they can be external customers, such as individuals who log into a web page and purchase something. But either way, they're customers. There may be hundreds of them. And as you can see, this puts a huge amount of stress on our IT organization. So how do we manage this environment? How do we keep up with the demands that are put onto our IT organization? Well, the first way is to automate a lot of these processes that go into provisioning storage, because these can take hours, if not days, to perform a simple task of, let's say, spinning up a development environment. And that's really where ViPR comes in. ViPR is the first piece of our software-defined portfolio that we're talking about. So ViPR has 2 main parts. The first part is the ViPR controller. And what the ViPR controller does is it's basically an orchestration engine. And it provides a self-service portal to not only the internal IT organization, but also to our internal customers. So if we have a developer, self-service portal. So if we have a developer, let's say, that wants to provision his or her own storage, they can simply log into this self-service portal and provision a LUN on a VNX, VMAX, or Isilon or third-party platform. They don't have to know what's going on underneath the covers here in the storage. All they have to worry about is what type of storage they want, whether it's block or file, and then provision their storage environment. And this is all completely controllable by the IT organization. Now this also saves the IT organization a lot of time because they're able to go into the same portal and provision storage for themselves. Now the second part of the ViPR environment is the ViPR data services. And the important thing to remember is that the ViPR controller sits outside of the data path, so it's not actually processing any live actual data. It's just providing orchestration and automation to the customers and providing chargeback and showback to the internal IT organization. Now the ViPR data services actually does sit in the data path. And what this does is, let's say that we have our VNX and we have developers who are using some sort of object-based development protocols. We can actually provide up services that aren't traditionally native on our storage array. This may be something like object, or perhaps we want to do analytics on our Isilon platform. We can offer up HDFS to our customers. We can also, if we have commodity hardware such as this box here, maybe this is a Supermicro box that we bought on eBay, we can actually offer up virtual versions of every storage platform that EMC offers. So the goal is that things such as virtual VNX, virtual Isilon, virtual Vmax will be available and offerable on commodity platforms. So as you can see, this is actively processing I/O and consolidating a lot of the purchases. We no longer have to buy an object-specific array just to do object data. So ViPR is great for providing automation and orchestration, as well as things such as object and HDFS that aren't natively on our storage array. But what happens if a developer spins up an environment, let's say on our third-party array here, maybe this is a NetApp array, and they want to promote this up to production? Well, in that case, we can actually use our second piece, which is VPLEX, to provide us things such as data mobility. VPLEX actually gives us, with ViPR, the ability to move workloads back and forth between storage arrays. So if we have a storage that's provisioned on this third-party array, and we want to promote it up to, let's say, our Vmax, we can actually seamlessly migrate or move this data between arrays. And if we need to downgrade from our Vmax maybe down to commodity, we can seamlessly, using ViPR to automate the whole process, move this storage down to our commodity platform. And eventually, ViPR interacting with VPLEX will do this automatically. So if you're familiar with EMC's tiering technology in our VNX and Vmax, where we tier from different tiers of disks, now we're actually tiering laterally. So we're tiering from whole different platforms. So this gives us true flexibility of data while never actually affecting host I/O or host interactions with the storage. Now, how do we keep track of this? If we think of ViPR as the power company, right? The power company doesn't require a trouble ticket every time we want to turn on a power on our light or on a hairdryer or whatever. They simply give us the ability to turn on our power, and then they provide the service of monitoring our power to make sure that it doesn't go down. And then at the end of every month, they send us a bill. And so how do we as an IT organization keep our consumers accountable and monitor and manage this environment? And we do that with ViPR SRM. It's important to be able to provide chargeback and showback to our end users. And so using ViPR SRM, we can not only monitor and manage our entire environment, assisting in things like troubleshooting, capacity planning, calculation, but we can also provide chargeback to our end users to keep them accountable and let them know how much storage they're using. Because a lot of times our customers have this idea that storage is free. So this is a very key part of our storage environment. Now, as you can see, this is just a small portion of EMC's software-defined portfolio. There we go.